In 2024, Bangladesh exploded. Millions of young voices flooded the streets. Students, first time protesters, an entire generation demanding dignity, justice, freedom. They were met with bullets, with batons, with brute force. And then the unthinkable happened. A powerful government crumbled. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina left the country. For a moment, it felt like the history had turned a page. But 1 year on, a haunting question remains. Was this a revolution or just an illusion of change? It began in July 2024, a protest over job quotas. But anger runs deep when hope has been denied too long. What started as a demand for fair opportunities became a revolt against corruption, repression, and police brutality. Then came the moment that shook the entire nation. As police opened fire, Rahat Hussain tried to save his wounded friend Imam Hassan Tayyam Buyam. Buyam did not survive. Hussain was shot in the leg. Someone filmed it. The video, it spread like wildfire. In Bangladesh, it snapped. The United Nations later confirmed the scale of bloodshed. Up to 1,400 people killed, most during security crackdowns, most of them unarmed, most of them extremely young. Anger spilled into every street, every home, every screen, not just in Bangladesh but across the world. Meanwhile, Rahat Hussain is still trapped in that moment. When the internet returned, he watched the footage. He heard his own screams. He cried yet again. And a year later, justice still hasn't arrived. He waits near the flyover where his friend died, waiting for trials, waiting for answers. Buyam's father, a police officer himself, once asked, "How many bullets does it take to kill a boy?" That question still haunts Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina led the Bangladesh government for 15 years. Economic growth came, but so did fear. Arrests, disappearances, alleged extrajudicial killings. After the uprising, Hasina left the country. Later, a war crimes tribunal sentenced her to death for the 2024 crackdown. But she denies all charges. Her party, the Awami League, is now banned. Its leaders are in hiding or across the border. An era had ended, or so it seemed. Hope surged after Hasina left. Young leaders joined an interim government. Students launched a new political force, the National Citizen Party. They promised accountability, reform, and a clean break from the past. But governing proved harder than protesting. Infighting grew, experience was lacking, organization faltered. Faith began to drain. The revolutionaries were losing control of their own revolution. As elections neared, familiar players returned. Jamaat-e-Islami gained ground. Despite its controversial past, many young voters saw discipline, structure, and strength. The NCP chose alliance over isolation. Leaders called it a practical compromise. Critics, however, called it a surrender. The uprising was being swallowed by the very system it fought. When all of this was happening, women were the backbone of protests. They marched, they organized, they resisted. But when the power was distributed, they were sidelined. Few tickets, fewer voices. Many of them, they quit. Others were trolled and threatened online. Activists asked a question that cut deep. Where are women now? For many, the revolution had lost its moral compass. Today, Bangladesh stands suspended between hope and disillusionment. Trials remain unfinished, justice delayed, and politics completely fractured. Old elites are quietly reclaiming space. Rahat Hussain offers a grim proverb: you cannot expect mangoes from a tamarind tree. Real change, he says, takes time. Gen Z brought down an autocrat, but toppling power is easier than transforming it. So the question lingers: did Bangladesh witness a true revolution, or merely a reshuffle at the top? The question will be written not in slogans this time, but in the years to come.